Hey everyone, Matt with Triple Locked Adventures. Today we're going to do a review on the ARB Recovery Jack. All right guys, let's get into this. I figured we would start with kind of where this jack lands in the market and what it's commonly compared to. Although, not to spoiler it, but I think it kind of is in its own category, although I do see why it's compared this way. So, kind of what is the ARB Recovery Jack, what it's used for, and why, where it's compared to, what it's compared to. So the ARB Recovery Jack is designed for the off-road market, right? It is designed for you to be used as a recovery aid device, maybe some field side repairs on your vehicle, stuff like that. What is it commonly compared to? It's commonly compared to your farm style jacks. Call it your high lift, which is a name brand, those farm style mechanical jacks. Like I kind of spoiler alerted, I do think that this is kind of in its own category, but I do see why they're compared, because the farm style jacks have been like the staple product of every off-road enthusiast for the longest time, right? They were readily available at any farm repair shop, online, right? You could find them. They're a very simple device, although sketchy. They're a simple device. They're easy to find. You can throw them on the vehicle and they just work, right? They just work all the time. There are better ones, there are worse ones, and if you're into farm jacks, go do some review or go look at some reviews on YouTube on high lifts and farm style jacks. There are not all created equal, let's put it that way. There are better ones and worse ones. So ARB came out with this product, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, and I've had an ARB Jack for about maybe even 2 or 3 years. I got it almost right when it came out, about a year after it came out. Now, you may notice that this one is extremely clean, and that's because it's actually a warranty replacement, and we'll get to the warranty here in a minute. But the ARB Jack was kind of designed from the ground up with their team of engineers to be a recovery jack that's a hydraulic style. Instead of mechanical, it's hydraulic, easy to use, very accessible, small form factor, and a very high quality materials fit and finish that ARB is known for, right? That OEM level high quality. So let's go over the build construction, maybe some of the features, and we'll kind of go from there. So actual build materials is very similar to a BP51 shock, which I think a lot of people are pretty familiar with. Extremely high quality. I have some notes here just so I won't forget all this stuff. It's a 6061 T6 aerospace aluminum construction. I believe it's an anodized finish, so very strong, but somewhat lightweight for its strength, but also very corrosion resistant with that coating on there, the anodized coating. Also, the foot is also made out of the same aluminum, so is this jack portion here as well, the jack foot. It is relatively light. Let me see the note, 24.25 pounds total. It's not light, it's kind of awkward, but I don't know the weight of a farm jack, but I want to say this is a little bit lighter. I could be wrong. Size, though, is much smaller. Those farm jacks are very tall because it's a mechanical motion, and you can't just magically make space out of nowhere, right? Where this one, because it's using hydraulics, there's a massive piston inside here, and it's using hydraulic pressure to push that out. So that's worth noting. Overall dimension on this, and I'll get to actual jack heights, but the actual overall dimension, its lowest dimension is 35 inches. Its highest dimension is 56.4. Now that would be from the bottom of the base to the very top of this handle. Your actual jack height, though, is, well, it has 21.3 inches of travel, but you can go up to 48.4 inches. And I'll get to that in a second here when we talk about the jack foot. So you can get up to 48.4 inches of jack height. Where it gets a little complicated or a little detailed here is the jack foot. So this jack foot, if you can see, there's a little like bicycle style latch here. This thing can fold up and slide up and down on the jack. So as you can see here, it can go up and down. There are indents in this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 indents. The lowest position, so this rotates in and locks in, and then you just tighten up this handle. Now that's locked in, you can jack from there. The lowest position is 6.3 inches. So from the base to here is 6.3 inches. The highest point is 29.9, I want to say it was? 29.9 inches. So without actually jacking up the jack, you can go anywhere from 6.3 inches to 29.9 inches at your starting point. Then from there, you have an additional 21.3 inches, so it brings up to 48.4 inches of total height. That's a really nice feature. Depending on how you're jacking a vehicle, you're going to have different start points. Maybe you're lifting from your slider, maybe you're lifting from your rear bumper, maybe you're lifting from your front bumper. The jack points are going to be different, right? Being able to just quickly adjust that height, your starting height, and not have to jack it up all the way up, right? Plus you would only have so much travel too. Being able to do that allows you to have a small form factor with a lot of height ability. 48.4 inches is pretty high, guys. I mean, that's a pretty tall lift height. That should get almost any independent suspension vehicle off the ground in the front. Most, like Toyotas and all that stuff, they don't have much suspension travel. So it's solid axle vehicles, probably not, but maybe. That's going to be the same thing with your farm jacks, right? So say you did need to do something where you need to take a tire off, and we'll get to some notes on this here in a second. But the tire, really the best way to do that would be to say bring a ratchet strap or something with you on a solid axle vehicle and ratchet strap the axle to the frame somehow. So that way when you're jacking it, you're not, forever undoing it, right? That would be the best way to do that. I know if that's kind of like a hassle, but guys, if you're getting this out on a trail, you're kind of already in a predicament anyway. So yeah, you're gonna have to work with the situation. Now, I wanted to mention a note. ARB, huge company, they have a lot of lawyers and insurance people, right? So there is a note on this that says warning, and it's in red. It says warning, not for vehicle maintenance or wheel removal. Do not get under a raised vehicle. Do not get under a vehicle that is supported by a jack. All right, now that we got the legal mumbo jumbo out of the way, you absolutely can use this to take wheels off a car, guys. There's even a picture diagram on the back, if you can kind of see it, that shows an axle up in the air with jack stands. You not getting under a vehicle with just a jack, making sure you chalk your wheels, stuff like that, right? So let's talk about getting this, using this to lift a vehicle. It will lift 4,400 pounds of capacity, and it also has an overpressure relief valve on it. So if you try to overpressure it, it's not going to let you. It's just going to blow off that pressure. It also has a 2-stage lowering system. So to jack it up, you literally just jack it like you would a jack, and it goes up. To lower it, which it won't right now, but I'll tell you why in a second. If you press this button slowly, it'll go down very slow. If you press it all the way, it'll go down all the way. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this by hand. So, probably won't be able to demonstrate it because I'm up on this. If you don't have vehicle's weight, here, let me just do it right here on the ground. If you don't have vehicle's weight on this, you're going to have to press down on it to get to go down, which maybe you guys can see that. If you need to get it to go down so typically you have your vehicle up in the air, you've jacked your vehicle up in the air, you press the button, it'll go all the way down until the weight of the vehicle is no longer suspended. You typically have to push down on it a little bit to get it off of, the lip of this or whatever, right? If you want to compress it all the way to get it in the bag, you either need to stand on it or lean on it and press down, and it'll go down. That is one note. So let's kind of go back to this warning though. ARB is saying that kind of as a legal jumbo, right? You can absolutely use this to jack up your vehicle, take a wheel and tire off the vehicle, but you need to support your vehicle somehow, guys. Maybe it's a log on the side of the trail. You throw that underneath the sliders. Maybe it's your spare wheel. You put it underneath the slider. You get the vehicle up in the air. you get maybe two people. One person's going to take one wheel off, the other person's going to throw a wheel on and kind of roll one under the slide or something like that, right? When you're on the side of a trail, nothing's really ideal. Typically, you're doing something because you're broken down or whatever, right? It's usually not great situations when you're pulling out jacks on a trail. But you got to have your vehicle supported somehow, and this even goes for your typical little, jacks that you have at your house. Do not work under your vehicle with just a jack. Make sure you have, especially if the wheels are coming off the vehicle, make sure that you have jack stands or a tire underneath the slide, like something to protect you from getting crushed. It is hydraulic pressure. If something were to go wrong, the vehicle is just going to fall down. And that's true with any hydraulic jack, right? I wouldn't recommend, not to keep bringing up farm jacks, but I probably wouldn't recommend working underneath the farm jack either. Even though it's a mechanical device, something could go wrong, right? It's probably less likely. Honestly, I don't think it's likely in either device, but anyway. Yeah, so that kind of covers that portion. Now, one thing I didn't cover on the build construction is there is a little rubber foot. You can see sliding up and down here. It's kind of hard to find these. One thing I've noticed, it's kind of hard to find the lock points. There's a rubber piece that slides up and down. It is a dual purpose thing. One, it holds this jack handle, which is really nice. It also goes up and down, and that is designed to sit against your vehicle when you're jacking. Say you're jacking from this low position for whatever reason, that's where you need to be. Say you're jacking from here. This can sit up against the body of the vehicle or your bumper and provide a wear point. So you're not grinding this aluminum on your car, right? So you're going to put this on there and you can jack your vehicle up. And this will kind of slide up and down on the vehicle, up, on the jack, I should say. It's going to slide up and down on a jack and protect your vehicle, which is a really nice function, right? Other things we should note here. I already mentioned the top has a really nice big handle. It is extremely easy to use. 4,400 pound lift capacity. When I was first looking at these, I was looking at them online, and then I saw them at Overland Expo East. The ARB had a demo of a vehicle setup. I want to say it was a Ford Ranger, might have been a Tacoma, I can't remember. It was an independent front suspension vehicle. They had an ARB bumper. This sat in the ARB lift point. All the ARB bumpers have an actual integrated lift point for high lift jacks or their own jack, obviously. Goes right in there. My wife walked right over to it, looked at it, and was like, "Oh, is this the jack that we were looking at buying?" And just starts pumping up the truck she's lifting up a full-size truck, no problem. Well, mid-size truck, no problem. And then she's like, "Oh, is this the release thing?" She started pressing it slowly, and it slowly went down. And then she pressed it all the way, and the truck went thunk, But it's very easy to use. Anybody can look at this and go, "Oh yeah, I can figure that out." In a situation where maybe you're trying to think of a situation, maybe you're stuck in a precarious location and you need to jack up the vehicle to get rocks on, like something, right? You don't want something that nobody knows how to use except for you. And it was one of the things I was considering is, one, I don't love those farm jacks are just so big, and then you got to mount them outside of the truck, and I don't want to pick on Jeep people, but they always put them on the hood, and God forbid you're in an accident. Anyway, I wanted something that my wife could just very quickly, if I'm in a situation and I'm stuck in the driver's seat, that she could just get out, deploy this, and know immediately how to use it. And that proved itself when we were at the show. So I think that is a huge factor for people that maybe haven't used a jack before, especially a farm-style jack, a mechanical jack. When they look at this, it's very approachable. It's very easy to figure out what you need to do. And a lot of people have used a floor jack, so they're like, "Oh, yeah, it's kind of the same thing." Other factor on here is, which I kind of mentioned, let me get this pumped back down here, is that it's very small. So what did I say the overall height was when it's compressed? 35 inches compressed height. So being only 35 inches, it can go into some pretty small locations storing-wise. And it does actually come with a really nice little bag. Let me just tighten this thing here. So it comes with this really nice, it's going to be hard to show this on video, but it's this really thick material, extremely thick material. And the zipper appears to be water resistant. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if it's waterproof. It says ARB on it, so it's not like a YKK zipper. It's their own system. It does appear to be water resistant at least. It might be waterproof. I'd love to know if this actually could be used in like mounted outside of your vehicle. ARB, if you're watching this, put a comment in the bottom and let us all know if you can actually mount this outside of your vehicle. Because I could see you putting this in a nice case. It's going to protect it from mud, dust, and sun and all that stuff. And maybe you have a nice mount outside of your vehicle. I actually mount mine inside my vehicle, which is worth noting. This is supposed to be stored, according to ARB's instructions and user guide, in a vertical position. That does not mean that you can't mount it in other positions. The reason they're saying that is because it's a hydraulic jack. If this lever were to get bumped or pushed while it was in the horizontal position, hydraulic fluid could leak out of this valve at the top, which would both create a mess, and two, will reduce the performance of this because you no longer have the correct amount of fluid in it, right? It is, you probably could service this yourself with new fluid, but I'm sure ARB does not condone that. I'm sure it's actually pretty easy to do, but they even tell you what kind of fluid's in here. It's a SAE 10 weight mineral hydraulic fluid. They don't tell you how much though, so that'd be kind of hard to tell. Anyway, what other notes on this thing? So the foot, there's actually a cool feature that not a lot of people talk about. I've seen some reviews online. I haven't watched a lot. I kind of was just like, that's the one, and I bought it a while ago. But one thing I don't see many people talk about, do you see that this foot has a round cutout? Do you know what that's there for? ARB was thinking. That's to DB the tire. So you would put this, you would rotate this base, which you can do. You put this up against your vehicle, you jack it up, that sits perfectly on the rim, and you can DB the tire with this if you needed to do that for some reason. Kind of nice that they integrated that in there. That's pretty sweet. There is an optional accessory you can buy for this. As you can see, the foot on this is pretty large, and it will work great on most ground conditions, but say you're like in real soft sand or like a muddy condition or something like that, they do make a small plate that is, I would say, very similar to like an ARB tread recovery board, you know, like a Max Trax, those type of, you know, any of those brands, right? It's a very heavy duty plastic material that has a nice cutout for this. It also has a cutout for farm style jacks in the bottom. Both are compatible. So it holds the jack and then distributes the weight across the ground. It's also so stiff that it has little carrying handles. It's pretty small. I actually just throw it in a drawer in my truck, but you could use it to dig or something too, which is really nice. I've used it actually on this last trip, which we'll talk about the warranty here in a second. On this last trip, I actually did use this a couple times in sandy conditions, and that little base was great. I just threw it down on the ground, put this on there, jacked up the vehicle, worked great. So let's talk about that. I did have a failure point on mine. This is my second jack under warranty. So this little lever here that, what do you want to call it, locks in this thing for moving up and down. For whatever reason, and I don't know why, I went to close it, and I don't know if it was like over tightened or something, or maybe got spun around, and I didn't give it much effort. I just went to close it, and it popped this screw all the way through this mounting surface, blew it out, and then this was just multiple pieces. Can't use the jack anymore. You could probably go to a hardware store and just put a bolt through there to make it do. Luckily, I did not need the jack for the rest of the trip. I actually wasn't even doing like a recovery or anything. I was actually just jacking up the vehicle. When I get around to editing the videos, you guys will see this, but I was just doing some bolt checks on the vehicle and stuff like that. And anyway, I had a failure. Luckily, it was at the end. I was done. I put it all back in the bag, and I proceeded to make a warranty claim. So let's talk about that. The warranty on this is really good. I don't remember it off the top of my head. See if it says on this box. Probably not. But there is a warranty period. Go to ARB's website. It'll break it down on their each one of their products. You do have to fill out a form online, and biggest note is you need the original proof of purchase. And my personal opinion, or what I do with all my receipts, is I load them onto a network added store, a NAS. I have a network attached storage system that I put all my receipts into a certain folder. That way I have receipts and copies of everything. So I put all that in there, and I had to attach that. They responded within 24 hours, and they had me send my old jack back, and then they replaced it immediately with this one. So the warranty process was great. I do want to mention that I was pretty pleasantly surprised with the warranty process. Online, you know, it's the internet, but you read the forums and stuff, and as well known as ARB is for making very high quality OEM products, their customer service and especially their warranties, at least online, has this presence of they're not going to help you. That was not my experience at all. Maybe I got lucky, I don't know, but I actually was bracing for impacts because I broke this really expensive jack, which by the way is $800. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to be stuck. So I sent them the form. I think I sent them a video or maybe pictures. I can't remember which, maybe both. They responded within 24 hours and they said, yep, you're covered under warranty. We're going to replace the whole thing with a brand new one. They said that this piece isn't replaceable. I mean, you could definitely just take this, there's a big Allen bolt down here. You could definitely take that Allen bolt out and replace just this piece. So I was kind of surprised they didn't just send that, but they were like, no, we'll just send you a whole brand new one. My only complaint in the warranty process is that they have you send your old one back first. They verify it, and then they send you out a new one. They do send you a prepaid packing slip, return slip. In my case, it was FedEx Express, and then they FedEx Express this back out to you. My only complaint is that unless you have your original box, it's kind of hard to ship it back. You either have to, luckily I'm in my warehouse as you guys can see, so I have boxes, and I just made a box for it. But that was my only complaint. And ARB, again, if you're reading this or watching this, maybe something can be done there. Maybe you guys can ship out a box or maybe send this first and then return the old one in the old box. I know then you might be stuck with somebody. I don't know how that would work, right? Maybe you have to take a payment form or something. I don't know. That'd be my only complaint. Warranty was great though, guys. I had a great experience. They immediately sent it out. As soon as they received my other one from FedEx, which was like 2 days, probably because it was FedEx Express, they immediately emailed me, said that they'd received my package, everything had gone through, and they were sending this one out, and this arrived within like 2 days after that. Like, it was super quick, they were super fast, they had great communication. My only complaint was I had to make my own box. I emailed them, was like, hey, do you have a box, you know? And they're like, oh, just send it in your original box. I'm like, guys, if I held on to every box of stuff I buy, I would need a warehouse like this to hold on to every box of everything I own. So, little nitpick, but overall, super happy with this product. It's been great. Guys, do you have any questions? I did mention the price. It's $800. I know that's one of the biggest sticking points, but I think this is something, and any salesperson or something we'll talk about. You talk about the benefits and the features. If somebody really has a hard time with the price, just think about it is 6061 T6 aluminum, all machined, anodized, all that machining time, all that engineering and R&D, having to pay for employees to package stuff, all that stuff is going into this. And I broke it, and they had it fixed. I mean, the warranty process was maybe a week total, guys. They sent out a brand new one, no questions. Well, some questions, but legitimate questions, right? To me, $800 is a lot of money, but could I make this for $800? No, I couldn't. So to me, it's worth it. It's super accessible. It's easy. It's great. It lifts the vehicle, no problems. You can do it literally with one hand. That's all I have to say. I love this thing. It's great. It's probably not the perfect use case for everybody, but it is super handy. Leave some comments in the description of what you think about this product. Let me know if you have any questions. Do you want to see this in use? I probably didn't mention it's like snowing here. It's disgusting outside. It's icy. It's slippery. I was going sideways coming in here on purpose, but it's a little sketchy outside, so I probably don't want to be playing with it out there. But if you guys want to see some videos of it in use, shoot some comments in there. As always, please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.